I am Heidi Benjaminson, your host of Confidence Coaching, a podcast for mothers who want more connection, calm, and peace. Life isn't a spectator sport. Success comes to those who show up every day with a pocket full of courage, grit, and a little sparkle. I'm glad you're here. Hello. Welcome to episode 141, how I've been practicing what I preach. It's been a minute, hasn't it, dear listeners? A lot of great change going on in my life. I've had to prioritize what I've needed to do for my family and clients. So my podcast has had a pause, but really, I have missed this, with the exception of coaching my clients, which will always be my favorite part of my business. Being here with you weekly, sharing tools, experiences, and building our collective confidence is my next favorite piece of my business. So I've missed you, really. I want to spend this episode sharing with you how I have used the emotional and cognitive tools that I'm sharing with you each week as I have navigated and helped my family navigate very large life changes over the past couple months. These are mostly changes we wanted and picked, with the exception of my daughter, who did not want to move. Even change we choose is hard. I've been going through a rushing river of change, a rushing river of newness and uncertainty with a lot of obstacles. I have felt like I was drowning at times, and I've kept my eyes on the other side of the shore. This has been a season of productive discomfort. I'm sensing a whole episode on that topic alone coming up. I'm going to link in the notes on the episode page on my website to other previous episodes that I talk about in length with each of the tools that I'm going to go over here in this episode, just in case you would like to hear more. Or just feel free to email me or DM me and I'll send you links. First, I've had a lot of practice letting the people around me have negative emotions, respecting their emotions, their experience, and not making them something to fix. My daughter had no idea that we were taking steps for my husband to change jobs and that we would be moving. So the night we told her that we were moving, she burst into tears and she stayed crying for what seemed like days and days. She had every reason to feel that way. I didn't jump in giving her all the reasons that she would ultimately like it. We comforted her, we told her we understood, and we also were incredibly sad that she was leaving her friends, her school, the life she knew. We heaped on empathy and we let her go through this process. I wanted to meet her where she was, and being very upset is where she was. Even though I was pretty confident that she'd end up loving her new school, her new area, I kept my mouth quiet on that. I wanted to send her signals that it was okay to feel how she was feeling. I hugged her. I told her that we would go to great lengths to make the move as smooth as possible for her. I didn't try to make how she's feeling wrong, even if it didn't match how I was feeling. We let her talk about everything she was thinking, feeling, her concerns, and so on. In almost all cases, she then knew how to handle each situation. As she started a new school, I saw all of her nervousness. I saw her anxiety to wear normal clothes after 7 years in a uniform, and I let it be okay. Of course, she got a lot of new clothes out of this move to help her be as comfortable as possible. She said, "I don't even know what my style is." Now, new clothes, they did ease the anxiety some, but they didn't take it away. I wanted to project that I'm confident that she can handle the discomfort. Now, did my heart break when I picked her up on the first day and she shared with tears how hard it was to go to lunch and not know anyone to sit with? Of course, my heart hurt with real pain. I hate she had to go through that, but I didn't frantically try to fix it for her. I knew she'd make friends, and 2 days later, she had a good, exciting story about asking people to sit with her and her new friend. I had my own pain and discomfort watching her go through what she was going through. It hurt, but I didn't add to it by stressing and trying to fix it or stressing that something had gone wrong. Nothing had gone wrong. I did connect her before school with our church youth group, and before school started, she had met several very nice girls in her grade at her school. I supported her as best as I could to ease the change and the transition, but it was coming from a place of support and care, not fixing and avoiding the emotions. Abby helped me handle my roller coaster of emotions. Before we officially moved, we purchased a home that's being built in our new town. And after that, our focus was on preparing and selling our home and moving down. Now, that first day that Abby and I were in our new town, getting her all registered for school, I felt an avalanche of all of the cons of moving. Oh, I was an emotional wreck, y'all. It was the culmination of several very emotional days. I started crying the first night, and a big piece of it was worrying that I had made the wrong choice on our house. I was flooded with doubts. All my energy had been going to dealing with so many logistical issues, and when I opened the door to those very normal doubts, the floodgates opened for me. I started to verbalize to my daughter my doubts. I didn't realize my brain was searching hard for certainty, for something to say, no, you did make the right choice. My daughter, in all of her wisdom, she simply said, Mom, it's okay to have doubts. My lower brain was making my doubts a problem. She simply reminded me, I may have doubts, and that's okay. Doubts don't mean that I made the wrong choice. Doubts often do mean that we are courageous. We're making vulnerable choices. Doubts mean faith and trust are also involved. My body softened from being very stiff and having anxious energy that I had bottled up. I had doubts, and I had to realize there was nothing to fix. I had to lean into it, as I had been helping my daughter lean into her negative emotions the month prior. I even told her later that night that what she had said had really helped me. I needed that simple shift, which seemed to give me more control over my thoughts and feelings. Now, one benefit of allowing the doubts was my mind relaxed and could see all the ways that the choices we had made were the right ones. They were the best under the circumstances. But that peace came after I had been okay feeling the doubt. One of the simplest tools that I teach that brings immediate emotional anchoring is being able to identify what we're feeling and then say, I'm feeling this emotion. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling lonely. I'm feeling nervous. Doing this reminds our nervous system that we are creating the emotion, it's not coming from an external threat, and that it's okay. For a week, we stayed in a small, congested Airbnb townhouse. We had brought 3 cars full of stuff that we would need for 4 months. Appliances broke in this week. I was living out of my suitcase since I was about to travel to take a son to college. We were negotiating offers for the house we were selling. My head and heart were all over the place. Several days after being there, I was super scattered, which was understandable, but I was feeling something deeper. I stopped and made myself search and identify, how do I really feel? What is going on here? I realized I am unsettled. I like being settled, like any human does, and I am very unsettled. We just left the home we knew. I'm tripping over suitcases. I have no idea where anything is that I need. I'm using GPS to go everywhere. I was unsettled. As soon as I said that to myself, I had more control over the emotion. I still am unsettled 3 months later, to some extent, although I'm happy to report I use the GPS a lot less. And I will be for more months, but knowing the emotion, I now seem to have more control over it. I can do things to help settle myself, and at the same time, I can respect and accept that this is an unsettling season. Just acknowledging it actually doesn't make me rush to feel settled. I can see ways I've created routines. We have kept many of our family routines, but I'm also accepting that this season of being unsettled is the currency I pay to be settled in a new area. I need to respect the replanting of roots takes time and not to rush it. I highly recommend when you're feeling all over the place, discombobulated, just pause and pinpoint what you are feeling. Do a Google search of a feelings wheel or a list of emotions. Pin it down, own it, Remind your brain that it is an emotion that is valid no matter what it is. Even just by saying I am unsettled, my brain feels relaxed and can see ways that we are actually getting settled. But all of this has come from letting the unsettling feel okay. Now, 2 days after my daughter started a new high school, I flew with a son to take him to his freshman year of college. Another child going to a very new situation, a new season of life. I had to make it all okay as I watched his emotional goodbyes to his dad and his brother. Like with my daughter, I let his nervousness be okay. And I also did what I could to ease the transition, making sure he had supplies he needed, or pointing out places to get whatever he might need in the future. Oh, y'all, dropping a child at college is no joke. Wow, heartstrings are pulled in all directions. It's the end of a beautiful chapter in our life with him and the beginning of a new chapter. I knew I was going to miss him like crazy, and I still do. But I've been careful not to make my emotional health be his problem to take care of. I tell him I miss him and that we're glad that he is where he is. I'm careful to identify if my questions about him, my concerns, are just me needing to feel better or are legitimate questions that he can answer. As my identity and roles shift as my children leave home, I am working to make sure that those emotional shifts are my responsibility to manage, not theirs. They have their own new identities, their own growing up to do. They are deep in their own normal and human insecurities. I do not need to inadvertently put my own insecurities and needs on their shoulders. Now, this doesn't mean I don't say, hey, we want to hear from you and know you're doing okay. But I'm not putting unnecessary burdens on him to relieve my needs. I need to get accustomed to not knowing where he is at all times, not knowing a whole lot. This uncertainty, this trust, this not knowing, this faith is my responsibility to carry. We ask him to be considerate and respectful, but ultimately it's my bag to carry. I am releasing control. It's hard, and I know the hard is necessary for the next chapters to be as wonderful. I need to do this growing so he can do his growing, and part of my growing is just moving out of his way. The night after I hugged my new college freshman son goodbye and drove off, I was at a dear friend's home getting ready to board a red-eye to come home to a new Airbnb that my family had moved into while I had been getting him set in college. In the previous 10 days, I had dealt with huge emotions, many more changes and decisions than I've even talked about here in this episode. First, as I drove to my friend's house, I went to a gas station. They had Krispy Kreme donuts advertised, and y'all, I went in and got 2. I haven't had those in years. I sat and ate them, and I said out loud, I am eating my emotions. This is emotional eating. I know it. I see it. This is going to bring me comfort for a few minutes. Now, this isn't the normal me, but it was what was getting me through that week. Now, I want to share this so you know I'm not always following 100% the things that I teach here because I'm human. This is what is different, though, from how I handled that versus how I would have many, many years ago, how I would have before I had built a good relationship with myself. Y'all, this time, I did not beat myself up at all for eating them. I felt no guilt for it. I was trying to hold my own emotions and self in a soft place. I knew I'd be back eating healthy the next day. I was exceptionally kind to myself. I tried to gain self-awareness and talk to myself the way I would like any girlfriend. I can't remember any negative talk. Y'all, it's okay to eat 2 donuts the night you take a child to college. Here is what is funny about that. A few weeks later, I was walking with a friend in Massachusetts who also took her son to college. Her son was one of my son's best friends. She started telling me about taking her son to college, and she said, oh, I stopped and I got a 2-pack of donuts on the way home and I ate them. And then I told her about my 2 donuts. She's very healthy. Remember, we were out walking while we shared this. We both said that we would report back when taking the next children to school to see if those drop-offs also involved 2 donuts. Now, I am so grateful I've changed my inner dialogue to be kinder, to offer grace, to see myself with compassionate self-acceptance. I know I will treat myself better. I'll eat better. I'll exercise. I'll do all the things to be healthy from a place of positive self-talk, not negative self-talk. I see my humanity. I don't think I need to be perfect. I don't think I need to maturely handle every single situation. I like the grace that I give myself. Now, as I sat with my friend that night, reviewing the big changes of the previous weeks, my friend said, "Wow, this is a lot. How are you?" And I said, "I'm not okay. This is a lot. Even though this is overall just great changes, it's still a big change and a lot all at once. Not just the move, these seasons of changes with our children. These are big changes. And I want to make sure I'm taking care of me." And right then, I wasn't feeling okay. I'm glad I know it's okay not to be okay. I said to the right person because I was looking for a new coach and therapist. She recommended someone to me, and I reached out to this new coach that week. And in the months we've been working together, she's been able to mirror back to me, showing me my patterns that I hadn't seen, challenging certain long-held beliefs. I'm glad I have friends that I can say to them, "Hey, I'm not okay," and they're not going to rush to make me feel better. I didn't need that. I needed and still need someone to witness the real emotions, to be comfortable with my discomfort. Now, I challenge you to look around and see who's going through a big life change. It could be kids leaving the house. It could be going back to the workforce, any change. If they tell you it's hard, believe them. Ask them to tell you about it. Ask what's hard and don't try to fix it. I promise letting other people share their experiences and you being able to emotionally stay with them to listen, this does help them feel better. They feel less alone in the experience. I'm going to do another longer episode about this next point because I don't think I've done one yet. Now, over the last several months, I often pause, especially when I'm feeling out of sorts, and I ask myself, what do I need right now? As mothers, we are so good at trying to determine what our family needs and also believing that those needs are more important than ours, that we can forget how to identify and honor our own needs. I've stopped, and sometimes I need to go to bed early. Sometimes I need to be on a routine, eat healthy, and go to the gym. At times, what I need is to really trust other people in my support network, and I need to stop trying to control how things might unfold. Sometimes the need is to call and get another quote. One need I have is to not cook much in our Airbnb kitchen, which is pretty awful. So I found a meal prep company with weekly delivery of healthy portion dinners. I've stopped at times, and the answer to what I need is that I need to take care of several logistical tasks with our move, and I need to get going. And at other times, I determine that my need is to ask a family member to take care of that one thing that needs to get done. My needs matter. My family needs me to prioritize what keeps me healthy, mentally and physically, so I don't get sick. And I lean heavily into believing that it's my responsibility to take care of my needs or ask people to support my needs. After a grueling several days dealing with some last-minute emergencies when we sold our house, I told myself I needed some retail therapy. I gave myself a reward of a new Sunday outfit. It was me seeing me thanking me for calmly handling some big situations, not numbing the feelings or avoiding them, just me saying thank you to myself. One very positive consequence of me trusting and taking care of certain needs is my children have stepped up to take care of their needs and support each other while I've needed to attend to the moving issues. It's really beautiful to see that when I can get out of their way, they can bloom a bit more. In fact, often they can deal with their needs better than I can. I love the quote I've seen on social media, "You know you've done a good job as a mother when you work yourself out of a job." It's really true. I am excited for the upcoming topics that I have planned to address on the podcast. Despite the move, I have still been working with clients, and life keeps on giving us challenges and opportunities to grow. I am in deep gratitude for you trusting me with a few minutes each week as you listen and share these episodes. I may or may not have a YouTube episode for this one. I'm still working out how I'm going to do that here in the temporary situation. But be sure to check out the last videos. Each is short, only like 5 minutes, that accompany many of the recent past episodes. Subscribe in the YouTube channel to make sure that you will get this podcast wherever you get it. I can't promise episodes will be weekly. We shall see. But if you subscribe, you'll be notified when a new one appears on Wednesday. Okay, that's it for this week. If you would like personalized weekly private one-on-one coaching to give your own family the gift of your confidence, sign up for a consult call at HeidiBenjaminson.com. A confident mother is the greatest gift to her family, not a perfect mother. Our families want us to feel confident, anchored, and calm. I can help you uncover this version of yourself. Have a great week.